The story of the Afghanistan-America War, also known as the US-led intervention in Afghanistan, is one of the longest-running conflicts in modern history. Below is a detailed summary from the beginning to 2025. 1. Background. Pre-2001. 1. Soviet-Afghan War, 1979–1989. Afghanistan became a battleground during the Cold War when the Soviet Union invaded in 1979 to support a communist regime. 1. The US, along with Pakistan and other allies, supported the Afghan Mujahideen, a group of insurgents fighting Soviet forces. 2. Civil War, 1990s. After the Soviets withdrew in 1989, Afghanistan descended into civil war. 2. By 1996, the Taliban, an extremist Islamic group, took control of much of the country, imposing strict Islamic law. 3. Al-Qaeda's rise. During the Taliban's rule, they provided safe haven to Osama bin Laden and his terrorist organization, Al-Qaeda, which orchestrated attacks on U.S. interests, culminating in the September 11, 2001 attacks. 2. U.S.-led invasion, 2001. 1. September 11, 2001 attacks. Al-Qaeda operatives carried out devastating attacks in the U.S., prompting President George W. Bush to demand the Taliban hand over bin Laden. 1. The Taliban refused. 2. Operation Enduring Freedom. In October 2001, the U.S., with NATO and Afghan allies, launched a military campaign to oust the Taliban and dismantle Al-Qaeda. 2. Within months, the Taliban government fell, and Hamid Karzai was installed as the head of an interim government. 3. Post-invasion challenges, 2002–2009. 1. Rebuilding Afghanistan. Efforts began to rebuild Afghanistan's institutions, infrastructure, and economy. 1. However, corruption, inefficiency, and a lack of security hampered progress. 2. Insurgency resurgence. The Taliban regrouped in Pakistan and launched an insurgency, targeting Afghan and coalition forces. 2. Their influence grew in rural areas. 3. NATO's involvement. NATO formally took command of the International Security Assistance Force, ISAF, in 2003, broadening the international military presence in Afghanistan. 4. Obama era and troop surge, 2009–2016. 1. Troop surge, 2009–2011, President Barack Obama increased troop levels, peaking at over 100,000 U.S. personnel in 2010, in an effort to combat the Taliban insurgency and stabilize the country. 2. Bin Laden's death, 2011, U.S. Navy SEALs killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. 2. This was a symbolic victory, but the insurgency continued. 3. Transition to Afghan forces. In 2014, ISAF formally ended combat operations, transitioning to a support role under the Resolute Support Mission. 3. Afghan security forces took on greater responsibility. 5. Trump administration and peace talks, 2017–2021. 1. Reduced troop levels. President Donald Trump sought to reduce U.S. involvement, eventually negotiating with the Taliban. 2. Doha Agreement, 2020. The U.S. and the Taliban signed a peace deal in February 2020. 2. It included a U.S. withdrawal timeline, Taliban commitments to prevent terrorism, and a framework for intra-Afghan peace talks. 6. U.S. withdrawal and Taliban takeover, 2021. 1. Biden's withdrawal decision. President Joe Biden announced a full U.S. withdrawal by August 31, 2021, ending America's longest war. 2. Taliban offensive. As U.S. troops withdrew, the Taliban rapidly advanced, capturing Kabul on August 15, 2021. 2. The Afghan government collapsed, and President Ashraf Ghani fled the country. 3. Evacuation crisis. The U.S. conducted a massive evacuation operation, airlifting over 120,000 people but leaving many behind. 3. The chaotic withdrawal marked a somber end to the 20-year mission. 7. Afghanistan under Taliban rule, 2022–2025. 1. Humanitarian crisis. The Taliban's return to power led to international isolation, economic collapse, and severe humanitarian crises. 1. Millions faced hunger, poverty, and lack of basic services. 2. Erosion of rights. The Taliban imposed harsh restrictions, especially on women and girls, banning them from education and many jobs, despite initial promises of moderation. 3. Continued extremism. Groups like ISIS-K, Islamic State Khorasan Province, conducted attacks, challenging Taliban authority and posing regional threats. 4. International engagement. While most countries did not officially recognize the Taliban government, limited engagement occurred to address humanitarian needs and counter terrorism. Impact of the war, 2001 to 2025. 1. Human cost. Over 240,000 people, including civilians, Afghan forces, U.S. troops, and coalition personnel, lost their lives. 2. Economic toll. The U.S. spent over $2 trillion on the war, with limited lasting success. 3. Geopolitical shifts. The war reshaped global politics, strained U.S.-Pakistan relations, and influenced military strategies in counterinsurgency and counter-terrorism. Conclusion: the Afghanistan-America War stands as a stark reminder of the complexities of modern warfare, the challenges of nation-building, and the enduring impact of global conflicts. Despite the withdrawal, Afghanistan's future remains uncertain, with the international community grappling with how to engage with a Taliban-controlled state while addressing ongoing humanitarian crises.